Are we live? I believe we're live. Yes. Hey guys, how y'all doing? How are you doing? Welcome to Songs in the Key of Life. I am your host, Kijuanna Wilson-Ewell, and tonight we are on episode 4. Come on, y'all. Can somebody clap it up for Songs in the Key of Life? We are on episode 4, so I'm super duper excited. And prayerfully we have more to come. So we have more coming your way. I'm so excited. Also, before we get started, y'all know what I'm going to ask you to do. Stop what you're doing. I need you to like, love, and share this video. Again, I repeat, I need y'all to like, love, and share the video. Share with your friends. Share with your family. Let everybody know. We also want to give a shout out to my girl, C.S. Bailey, and the She Is Still Dope family. They are not just a team, they are a family. We are a family. Listen, guys, She Is Still Dope is nothing, listen, it's an amazing experience being a part of a family who has your back. So we are about motivation, education, inspiration, and empowerment. Please check out some of the other shows. I'm not the only show. Let me give a quick shout out. I hate to mention names because you always forget somebody, but I do want to shout out my homegirl, V. Dixon. Last night she had a show on with another pastor who is a part of the network. You have to go and check out that episode. So check out Blossom by Being with V. Dixon. And guess what? There are so many other shows, so I need y'all to be a part of them all, okay? So tonight I'm not going to do too much talking in the beginning. I want to bring on our guests because we have 2 guests this evening. So I want to give everybody their divided attention, and I want to make sure that we stay on schedule. So with all of that said, let me introduce our first guest, okay? He is an entrepreneur, an online marketer. He is a credit expert, and he's the founder of Beyond Credit Repairs, okay? So when he comes up, I need y'all to give up the love, give up the hearts. Let me welcome to Songs in the Key of Life, Mr. Tyre Mathias.
There we go. Hello.
Hey.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. How you doing?
I'm doing just absolutely great.
Good. Tell me about that weather down in sunny California.
Can't complain right now.
I bet.
Same weather all year long.
Now you want to make somebody jealous.
60 and 75 all year. Even though we're about to get hit with a little heat wave, a little 100+ weather, but
I'm a little jealous. So let me ask you, what time is it there? You're 3 hours behind, right?
Yeah. So I guess it's about 5 o'clock, I suppose. About 5.
Oh wow! So you have the rest of your evening. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. In California, is there anything going on? Like, do you guys have any kind of concerts that go on in the summer, or something that happens yearly that you and your family attend?
Honestly, not. We're still learning about stuff out here, just kind of get acclimated. We haven't been out here very long, so it's only been about 3 years that my family and been out here. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And so you're in San Francisco?
Yeah, so that's Northern California. So for those that don't know, like I didn't know, and so many people that come out here, you think about California, but San Francisco is not, LA, San Diego. Right. A lot of people learn the hard way. It's pretty cool up here,
Okay.
The weather is definitely different up here,
right.
So, if it's nice in the evening, you can guarantee by the time, 6 o'clock come around, 7 o'clock, it's going to be about 50 on average, yeah. It gets pretty cold out here.
That's see, you learn something new every day. So let me give y'all a little bit of insight on Tyre. So Tyre and I have known each other since the 90s, I think 1998. We were both in basic training for the United States Army together at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Fort Jackson, the good old days. Definitely. The good old days. Not only were we in basic training together, but we were in AIT together. So that's like advanced individual training. So that's like your schooling or whatnot. So we both have the same job, or we had the same job in the military. So I just want to say, even from that point up until now, he's always been a very respectful person, very humble, and just a very friendly individual. So I'm super excited to have you on the show, bro.
Definitely glad to be here.
So listen, I'm going to jump right into it. Can you tell me how long you were in the military, and then when you left the military, where did you find yourself? Like, where did you locate to?
Yeah, I was in for close to 10 years.
Okay.
When I left, I actually went to St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I was at for quite a while, even while I was in the military. Ended up there going to a church home there. So, it's kind of where I landed at. Met my wife there, and so many things. Played on the band there, which is really what drew me to St. Louis. So I was
Wait,
playing
what'd
on
you
the
say?
band, played on a brass band,
Wait,
gospel,
wait.
a gospel
What
brass
instrument do you play?
band. Everything brass, everything, mainly the tuba.
What?
Mainly the tuba. I've always played that, even before the Army. That was what I was known for playing. So.
Oh, like I did not know that. Like, how did that just skip? Wow. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. You learn something new every day. I really did not know that. So, okay, so you stayed in Missouri for some time, right?
Yep.
And where did you go from Missouri?
Oh man, from Missouri, I guess I was in St. Louis for about 8 years. Left St. Louis, and then I was in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee for about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like I'm traveling around on 8 year stints. So
Right, for sure. Okay, so the great thing is, so we were in the military, like I said, we were in military together. And then obviously he went his way, I went my way, all of our friends went their way. But because of the good old social media, we were able to reconnect. A bunch of people from Fort Jackson are actually on Facebook. We kind of communicate here and again. So I'm happy to hear that. But on your page, so I follow you and I check you out. I check in on my friends, and I see your beautiful family. So I know you have a wife, you have children. Tell me a little bit about your family.
yeah, definitely. So far right now, just celebrated an anniversary recently. So
Okay.
been married for 17 years now.
Woo.
Got 3 children. I got my oldest son is 17-year-old, and I got a set of twins
Okay.
that they're 15, so all teenagers. Definitely, we're all entrepreneurs. All of us kind of have our little thing. So, but definitely been a blessing. My son is doing great. My oldest son just designed our little Child of God T-shirts.
Okay.
Um, yeah, definitely. So super proud of him. He's doing great with that, with his Child of
Wow.
God shirts. I was going to wear one when I came over here, but
Yeah, yeah.
well, yeah, but
That's
he's
that's
definitely.
amazing. So make sure that before we get off the air, I want you to tell the people where they can find the t-shirts for your son. We definitely
Definitely.
listen, y'all. We have to support our youth. We have to support our youth. We have to give back to them. Whenever I see a child wanting to, branch off into becoming an entrepreneur, I'm always in support of it, because they can be doing so many other things out there, but they're choosing to do a work. And his brand is all about God. So that's even, I
Definitely.
mean, that's an
Definitely.
amazing thing that a young man would say. They could do anything, but they chose to make t-shirts about God. So that's a beautiful thing. But I want to get into your business and what you do. But before I go there, let me just be a little transparent with you guys. So, like I said, I knew Tyree from the military. We lost contact, got back in contact through social media. I realized that he was into credit. And as an adult, I don't know if anyone else has had this story, but this is my story. So it is what it is. Please don't judge me. But I was very, very lost when it came to credit. I was, as a child and as a teenager, I remember hearing adults say all the time, don't get no credit cards, don't go to college and get credit cards and get in debt. When you go to buy a car, buy the cheaper one so that you don't find yourself with all these things. So I found myself as an adult, really staying away from credit cards, almost like credit cards were the devil, and also staying away from car lots and things of that nature. So one day I found myself more recently in a situation, and it forced me to take a look at my credit. And I did not realize that as an adult, married with children, that I had no clue about credit. Like I did not realize, like I had a person tell me, like we see your age, we see your birthday, but we don't even see what you can pay because you don't show anything. So I said, well, I thought I should have stayed away from credit cards. They said, no, actually, it was the opposite. So one day, like recently, I had an issue with credit, and I thought of my friend. So I reached out and I'm like, bro, I need you to tell me something. This is what you do. I need you to tell me, what does this mean? Like, what is going on? I'm confused. Credit is confusing me. And he began to tell me a story. So I'm like, well, how you know so much about credit? Who made you the authority on credit? And so he began to tell me this story. So I said, you know what? Hold off on the story. I need my audience to hear your story because, again, I know I'm not alone. I'm sure that there's somebody else out there who has gone through what I've gone through. But I want someone who understands the life of credit to just walk you through their personal testimony to show you that we do not always have to be ignorant to things. God has given us things and tools so that we can be the lender and not the borrower. So Tyre, I'm gonna give it over to you, bro. I need you to take a little bit of time and tell my audience your story, and just make it plain.
Yeah, so definitely, ironically that you say that, we hear so much growing up, from our parents, grandparents that, credit cards are the devil,
Yes.
and that's, actually not true.
Right.
Mismanagement of credit cards is the devil. So
That's right. That's right.
but credit cards in itself, but typically we do is mismanagement. Nevertheless, for me, just like a lot of people, right? I do consultations, man, probably I talk to at least 10 to 15 people or more per day.
Wow.
And, most people are just like me, or just like, Key talked about, the same thing. Most
Right.
of us, we're older. For me, I'm 43 years old now, and like I really started learning and getting into credit at about 40. So I'm
Wow.
43, about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, really, once I moved from Chattanooga, Tennessee to here. Now, I always know about credit, right? We heard about it.
Right.
But, for me, my attitude towards credit is unfortunately a lot of people's attitude. So I really didn't care about credit. I didn't know the effects that it had and how to
Right.
powerfully. I wish I had known what I knew now as far as about the power of credit, right? Because whenever I acquired something I couldn't pay, they're like, well, you need to make this payment or else we're going to put it on your credit. I'm like, put it on my tab, whatever, throw it on the tab. I can't
Right.
pay it, put it on the tab. So
Right.
now here I am, 48, 40 years old. I'm looking like my tab is looking kind of long, what I'm
Right.
saying, with a bunch of negatives and stuff in collection, So, I definitely had to get my credit fixed before. And the same young lady that helped me fix my credit before
Right.
I tore it back up again, I still didn't learn about credit then, though. I just know that I needed to get my credit in order. I wasn't paying attention to the details, like a lot of
Right.
people. A lot of times we'll ask somebody, we'll know that we have a low credit score, and you may seek out a credit company, or maybe you have someone that that does credit, that fixes credit. You reach out to them, you're like, hey, fix my credit. You're still clueless about how it works and the inner workings of credit.
Right.
So, nevertheless, I was the same way. When I moved from Chattanooga, Tennessee to San Francisco, which for those who don't know, this is literally the most expensive place in the world to live.
Wow.
I never thought I would hear the day where I would associate the word only with $3,000 for rent. Right. So I never thought I would hear the day where I would say, if you found an apartment for $3,000, it's a deal. That's like a steal if you find something like that. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I mean, nevertheless, I got here. My credit score was a 426. Now I had student loans. They've been threatening me for years. I've been in school, almost 20 years ago. I don't know how many years ago.
We all
They
went
were
through that.
threatening me to repay. Finally, after moving from Tennessee to San Francisco, California, they finally decided to garnish my bank account.
Wow.
We've been saving up to move out because we've been talking about moving out here to California for years before we actually moved, but we were waiting for the money was right, the time was right. So we were saving, got our money together, finally moved out here, and man, 2 days after I got here, everything was gone.
Oh my goodness.
I basically ended up homeless. Long story short, my credit score was a 426. Now, when I came out here, I had a bunch of interviews set up. I was working a little job. Like I said, I was homeless, so I was working at UPS, and I would sleep in the break room, and then go out on interviews, later on. So eventually, I started driving for Uber and Lyft. Now, driving out here for Uber and Lyft is a little bit different because we make a lot more money than anywhere else in the country. So the cost of living is high, but the wages here are, high.
Right.
So it almost pans out, so it really doesn't matter. So, nevertheless, I was making about $7,000 to $10,000 a month driving for Uber, and tried to get an apartment. I tried to rent a room. I couldn't even rent a room because they do credit checks just to even rent a room. Because here is different. A lot of people don't get whole apartments out here. You typically do share what they call shared living out here. Because, just to do a shared living just for a room, it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. Now that's just for one room in an apartment,
Wow.
So I couldn't even do that.
Because of your credit.
Yeah, exactly. And everywhere I went, they like, man, your income looks great. Right. You see that you're making $10,000. Matter of fact, I had a couple of leasing agents quit and start driving Uber like me. So
I bet they did. You had my wheels spinning at $10,000 a month. Summer job.
But nevertheless, I didn't have much family out here or anything like that. So, and like I said, I was homeless. So if I wasn't working, if I wasn't eating or sleeping, I was driving. So they say all money ain't good money. I was working about 16 hours a day just driving.
Oh, wow.
That's not normal. But
right.
But nevertheless, it forced me to start learning about credit. I did start getting my credit worked on so that I can get my own car because I was renting cars through Hertz. And I know I needed my own car. Definitely wanted to get into an apartment so I could move my family out here from Tennessee. So I had to get my credit fixed. So the young lady that helped me fix my credit, she also taught me about credit. And she had a program. So she just said, hey, listen, if you refer other people to my company, I'll pay you a certain amount. And I started doing that. I just started showing how my credit was going up and, what I was learning. And once I started sharing it with other people, I started seeing that, okay, I'm making a lot of money just from these referrals that's coming. I think she was giving like $50 per referral. And once I started, learning the inner workings, and she was like, hey, listen, you might as well do your own. So that's kind of how I started my own credit repair business. Started seeing, number one, how many people actually need it. Because I thought that, man, I didn't want to say nothing. Because I'm like, I ain't want nobody to know that I'm 40 years old and I got a 400 credit score.
Wow. But wait, let me pause you right there, though, because, see, that's the thing, because oftentimes we're in a place, right, where we need help, but we're ashamed to ask for the help because what we were taught from our parents, or like you said, from your parents or your grandparents, it's like passed down from generation to generation. Right. Then we find ourselves in these places where we're like, how am I in my 40s and I still don't know about credit? But one of the key things that you told me, and I've talked about with other people, is we're not alone. So many people do not understand credit, how it works. So you're making $10,000 a month driving Uber, and you still can't even rent an apartment because of your credit. That speaks a lot. It speaks volumes. And like, there was another thing that you said that was a key to me. When people are saying, I'm going to come after you for your debt, and you say, put it on my tab.
Right.
That made me laugh because I used to do the same stuff. You know, they come calling you, and I would actually say little slick stuff when the creditors would call me. When they would say, well, can you borrow from somebody? I would say, well, what's your name? And they would say, oh, my name's Paul. And I would say, Paul, let me borrow some money. So Paul would say, well, I don't even know you. And I said, well, didn't you tell me to borrow? I would be real smart, you know what I mean, with the credit people. But it all adds up later on. You're looking at this tab like, I have all of this debt, and now I have to fix it. So you had a 420 credit report, you said?
Yep.
Credit score? Okay, so now fast forward. So now you're homeless, you're driving Uber, you're making $10,000 a month, you get educated about, you know, what you need to do to get your credit. But when did the moment come when you were able to actually obtain a place to live? How did that go down?
Honestly, I was probably able to obtain a place within about 8 months because I didn't start working on it. You know, it took me about 6 months to get it to where I wanted to be.
Okay.
But literally after only a couple of months, I was able to get a car. Now, granted, I was coming from a 420. I got my vehicle when I was close to a 600, which wasn't good. I should have waited a few more months because even though I got the car, I had a high interest rate.
Okay.
But this is why it's so important, okay? I got my vehicle. My car note was $520, I believe, a month.
Wow.
$540 a month. I'll take that back. $560 a month.
Okay.
It was a brand new car, hybrid. However, as my credit score kept on growing, a few months later, maybe about 6 months later, my credit score was about a 795. I was able to refinance. Okay. Refinance the same car. I think I was paying about 23% APR. I was able to go from a 23% APR down to, I believe, a 9% APR.
Wow.
Payments went from $560 a month, okay, to $320 a month. That's a $250 difference.
Wait a minute. So in the time span, from the time you had a 420 to the time you said just now, like 7, where did you say you were at this time? About 7?
When I got my car, I was about close to 600, like a 590.
And then when you refinanced it, where were you at?
I was at, when I actually refinanced, I was probably about a 760.
So a 760. So how long do you think it took you to go from that 420 to that 760?
Probably about a year.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you again. So with hard work and with dedication, knowing that you know, because sometimes what happens is we're praying to God for him to, you know, God, like, get me out of this situation. Like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But then we're just waiting on God to move, but we're not doing anything on our own. We're not taking the steps to move forward.
Right.
Clearly, you were doing something. You were following these steps. You were saying, look, I'm not willing to live like this anymore. Because oftentimes, especially like in the body of Christ, and I don't know why this is, they feel like it's okay for us to just live a mediocre life. You know, the world can have riches. The world can have great things. But when you're in church, oh, no. If we're children of God, we should really be living like children of God. So the fact that you had that dedication, that fact that you did what you needed to do to go from a 420 to a 760 in a year speaks volumes. Like, that's major. So for anyone listening, it can be done. From a 420 to a 760 is major. But I have to ask you this question, and I'm going to bring in our other guests, and then I'm going to bring you back. But I have to ask you, is there anything, you know, since you've worked on your credit, is there anything that you've been able to purchase or that you've been able to do that makes you feel like it was just all worth being homeless, all worth going through what you've gone through? What is that thing?
I don't know if it's worth being homeless. Well, let me stop.
Right, but it's a part of the story.
But definitely, like I say, even that alone, what I just mentioned with the vehicle, like, you may not think about that, like $250. You think about that over, you know, that car is, any new car, if you talk about 5 to 6 years, right? Is going to be your note, you know, 60 to 72 month payments. So just imagine the difference of raising focusing on your credit score, because the difference that you're paying in a car note, this goes for anything, a mortgage, a regular loan, anything. The difference is just by being ignorant, or I guess you want to say, you know, just being ignorant to the whole credit game,
right,
or, you know, just dismissing it. not realizing that over the years you're paying that extra $250 cushion just by working on having a better credit score.
Right.
You add that up times 12 months. You see what I'm saying? Times 5 years.
Right.
Now, technically, when I think about it, I acquired a lot of vehicles at 23, 24% APRs, 20% APRs.
Wow,
You know what
wow.
I mean? And I'm probably overpaying. I don't have many vehicles over the last 20 something odd years.
Right.
So technically, I probably gave away $30,000 just by not having good credit or more.
Wow.
You see what I'm
Wow.
saying? So that's, you may not think about it, but it adds up. So just I always say, ask yourself one question: what would you do with an extra $250 in your pocket? What would you do with an extra $250 in your bank account? A lot of times we think like to attach not having to having more income or not having enough income. But sometimes it can be attached to your credit.
Okay, wow,
see what I'm
that's
saying?
amazing. So listen, we had viewers, there was a question that was asking where people can find your services. So listen, guys, before he gives out that information, this is what we're going to do. I have another guest that's coming on, and I'm going to speak to her for a few minutes, and then I'm actually going to bring Tyre back on at the end. And at the end of the show, we're going to make sure that he gives all of his information of where you can find him, how you can speak to him, and get started on your credit. So are you willing to stick around for a little bit, bro, while I bring in the next guest?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All righty, I'll see you in a little bit.
All right.
All right, so listen, guys, tonight, like I said, we have two for the price of one. So I'm going to bring in someone from my hometown. She is, excuse me, a small business expo speaker, financial literacy advocate for the underserved, and the founder of Dow's Credit Solutions. I want you guys to help me welcome to Songs in the Key of Life, Miss Lynette Stevenson.
Hi there, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, honey?
Good, what's going on?
Listen, so I'm on here. I'm talking about this credit. I'm talking about things. The first half of the show, my brother, told us a little bit about his backstory. I was talking to him and reaching out to him about credit, and then I decided, it would be really good every month to have somebody come on the show and just give a few tips, even if it's coming on the show on. And giving a 15-minute tip on credit. It's something that as a community, we need to do more of. And as I'm thinking about other people, like, okay, God, show me somebody. You scrolled right on my timeline, and I'm like, wait a minute. That's the hometown homegirl,
Uh-oh.
So I reached out to you, and first of all, I thank God for reaching out to you, because the other day, I'm on the phone where we reached out to her. It's the first time we actually had a phone conversation, y'all. We were on that phone for at least an hour, just talking about the goodness of God and talking about life, talking about this show and her life. So I'm happy to have you here. I spoke to Tyre about his past. And I already kind of gave you a little insight that I want to bring you back on. I told you you're going to be on the second half, but I'm going to bring you back for your own show. However, he talked about having a credit score that was a 420, moving out to San Francisco, California, where he was homeless because they wouldn't even rent him a room with bad credit. And in a year, he went from a 420 to a 760. And so we kind of dove into that a little bit. But I want to ask you, with all that you do, I know that you speak to groups, you're involved, you're very actively involved in the community. But I want to know, sis, what was it about your life that caused you to get into wanting to help people repair their credit?
Well, one day I looked at my score. It was like 5 years ago for me, and I was a 454.
Wow.
And I went to Macy's and applied for a credit card. And I was like, oh my God, I got denied in front of so many people. And then 2019, I was fired from an organization that I was with for 5 years. And I was making, 70,000 a year. And, piggyback off what the gentleman said, you can make so much money, but if your credit is compromised, you're unable to obtain anything. So with that being said, I began to look at my financial forecast. I reviewed it and I was like, wow, I'm at a 454. I can't even get a Macy's card. This is weird. So, I started looking like anybody can get a Macy's
That's
card.
my word.
You can't even get $100 credit limit. You know it's bad. Excuse me. You know it's bad. So I'm just like, sorry. So I'm just like, what is going on? So
Right.
again, I started to review it, and I was like, I had so many derogatory remarks on my credit. I've had
I know.
repos, evictions. And I'm very transparent. So one thing
Yeah,
about me,
tell it
for
all.
me,
Hey.
I'm very transparent, and I was just like, I have to change this.
Right.
You telling your children, hey, you gotta wait 2 weeks to get them something, or because of your payday, you don't have that extra cushion to, be able to, have that freedom. So I
Right.
began to prepare my credit over 4 years ago, like almost 5 years ago. And I started at a 454. So it was those
Wow.
moments that I was in Macy's, and then I was terminated from a medical organization I was with for 5 years. And I was just like, something has to change.
Wow. So when you decided to begin to work on your credit, I know that you understood, or maybe you didn't understand that there was going to be a road ahead of you. But what on the inside of you said, I don't, what spoke to the inside of you to say, I don't care what it's going to take. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I deserve better. I deserve to be able to provide for myself and my family in a different way. What was it on the inside of you that caused you to say, no matter what, I'm not turning back?
Those high APRs, those loans when you get a car and they're 23 and 24% APR, can't get those lines of credit, unable to even, you know, get things that you want, a home, an apartment, anything. And it was just like, wow, if I can't get this, I'm paying so much more with higher credit, with lower credit, expensive wise, and I'm just like, people with compromised credit scores pay an extra almost $6,000 or more a year just to live. And if we're already having issues with finances, can anyone really afford an extra $6,000 a year? And
No.
that's a lot. We get these nice cards and they're 21% APR. And it's so serious. It's just like, no, like something has to give because you're being set up to get the car repo. You're setting yourself up to get
Right.
having, that embarrassment moment. And I had those moments. So I'm just like,
Right.
something has to give. Like it just that type of living, that APR, not able to save. You can't even have a savings account because you have to constantly kick out high interest for everything. So
Wow.
that was they were some of my turning points.
Wow. Now, tell me about your family. I see the beautiful pictures on your page. We have a few images here. Tell me a little bit about your family and when you decided to make changes in your life, how did this affect your girls?
My oldest daughter, Denisha, she's in college. Well, she just graduated in nursing school. And a lot of times when she needed things, I was unable to deliver.
Right.
And, as she was growing up, we have this mindset that we have to look good for the streets. All the money I invested in materialistic things could have went towards her education. So I
Right.
had to, shift my mindset. I'm like Jordans and flashy outfits and things of that nature. I'm
Right.
still carrying that generational curse, good, look good. Make sure you have the latest and greatest on, but your bank account is on negative 430, and you have a 23% APR car, knowing you hiding around four corners just so you don't get it taken, just to
Right.
look good. So those moments I had to sit back and say, okay, let
Wow.
me refocus, and reshift and think differently. So,
Wow.
we came to a point in our lives that we don't go through that anymore. So because the way I leveraged credit and grew financially. So it was those moments.
That's beautiful. And let me just piggyback off the what you talked about with the community. It's unfortunate that for many years, certain people were privy to certain information when it came to credit. But we know that there's always been communities of people who have always been ignorant to certain things from generation to generation. And you can't even blame the generations that came before you because they just didn't know. But for certain people, like you said, It was, let me stand in line for 2 hours and grab Jordans. Let me go ahead and buy the flashiest car. But at the end of the day, there's nothing in the bank account. The credit is jacked up, and there's no legacy to give to your children. You end up on the low suffering. You look good though. You look good for the neighborhood, but at the end of the day, there's no food in your refrigerator. Right. And it's the matter of changing our mindset. Last week when I had the Mosleys on, they spoke about, Brent spoke about our physical bodies and getting ourselves prepared physically when it comes to being a kingdom person, a kingdom man or woman, man or woman of God. So this week talking about credit, it goes right back because we have to be financially straight, physically straight, emotionally straight. We need all of those components in order to be what it is that God is calling us to be. It's time for us to turn away from wanting to look good. We want to have good credit. We need to speak to people like you. We need to speak to people like Tyre to figure out what do we need to do to get our credit straight. Now, let me tell you guys, we don't have so much more time. I'm going to bring Miss Stevenson back on the show. We're actually working out our schedules now, but you guys are going to see a lot of her. You guys are going to see a lot of Tyre, and I have another young lady from Philadelphia that I'm praying will come on the show as well because her story is phenomenal. I need you to hear these stories because I need you to see that they are you. They are me. This is not something that's unobtainable. We can have good credit. We can become something. We can show our children that they can have generational wealth. I wore a shirt from Lisa Lickers. It's the generational wealth for me. I wore that shirt today because I knew I was speaking to you guys because that's what it's all about, building something for our children. Not so that we have enough money to bury us, but so that they can be taken care of. So I'm going to actually bring Tyre back in because both of you guys are in the same playing field. And I have a couple more questions for you. And then I definitely need you guys to tell people how they can get in contact with you, okay? So we're going to bring Tyre back on. Hey, bro.
Hey.
So Tyre, this is Lynette, and Lynette, this is Tyre.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be on.
I wanted to introduce you guys because you're in the same lane. You guys have your own things. God has given you guys individual ministries. However, what you guys are doing is wonderful in teaching people about their credit. Lynette's business she's the founder of Dolls. Is it Dolls or Dals?
DALS.
DALS Credit.
It's my children's initials. It's a double meaning.
Got you. So that she's the founder and you're a founder of Beyond Credit Repair. So I wanted to ask you guys, I know Tuesdays, right? Lynette, you do Tip Tuesdays?
Yep, Credit Tip Tuesday every Tuesday.
Okay, and you do
FAQ Fridays, frequently asked questions.
Okay,
Fridays.
so this is what I want y'all to do right now. Anybody watching this show, I need y'all to go to Lynette Stevenson's page. I need you to find her. I need you to send her some requests. I need you to follow her. I need you to go to Tyre Mathias' page. I need y'all to find them and follow them because when they're giving away these tips, guess what? Some people are paying for these tips. They're giving them away for free. You're sitting around your house on Tuesday night. Don't worry about what the other channels got going on. Check out Miss Stevenson. She's showing you something for your future. On Friday night, when you ain't got nothing going on, listen, pop in on there because this is information that we need, okay? So I have to ask you two both before I let you go. I asked Tyre this earlier, and he kind of talked about some things, but I want to know, with the credit, with all the work that y'all put in, right? Y'all put in a lot of work. You were at a 420, and she just told the audience that she was at a
454.
A 454. So y'all were kind of in the same ballpark, right? Yeah. Now both of y'all not only have credit scores that are up there, but you both are running credit businesses. So what is it, if you can name one item or one thing you've been able to do as a result of cleaning up your credit, what would that thing be? I don't care if it was a trip, maybe you were able to buy your dream car, a home. What was that? You know, when you see all the work that you put in, what's the one item that you can honestly say, like, I thank God for that? With this credit, that allowed me to get that.
I swiped my Mercedes-Benz on my American Express. That was one of my my Academy Award moments for me. Like, you know, it was wow, and it was on the business side. It wasn't even on my personal side. So even when you build business credit, you can
Yeah.
still have that financial power, that financial freedom. So that was my,
Come
my
on. I'm not even going to say swipe or no swipe, but come on
yeah,
and
that
keep
was a swiper
swiping.
no swiper moment. So that was a moment. That was a nice moment.
Wow. Now, Tyree, what's the item for you?
Well, for me, it wasn't even necessarily IO. Very similar to what she talked about was when this pandemic hit, was just being able to have your credit scores, your personal credit good enough to be able to acquire business funding, um, which is one of the reasons why, I still do personal credit, but at the same time, I focus on some of the things the reasons why people coming to me for personal credit. So one of the biggest reasons is they're trying to get in a home. I would say 70% of people who reach out to me are looking to get homes. And
Right.
so we have a home ownership program where we help people get in a home practically regardless of their credit. You can have at least a 550 maybe credit score. And
Right.
we got programs we help you get into homes, but mainly offering those things that people come for, which is homes. They're trying to get business credit,
Right.
trying to get into vehicles. And, as Lynette kind of mentioned, the business credit deal, like I say, when you get vehicles in your business's name and things in your business's name is a whole different ball game.
It is.
Um, which I teach people is why you want to definitely get your personal credit up
Right.
because it opens up the door even on a business credit side. So it's a whole nother world when you have better credit.
So
Yeah,
we need
business
we
credit
need
is
all
very
that.
lucrative.
Yeah,
It
we
is.
need see we need all this. We need all this information because it's about financial freedom. My homegirl, Pastor V, Veronica was just on here and I saw her comment. It's financial freedom, and let me tell you something. As kingdom people, and I said it earlier, it's about being the lender and not the borrower. You don't always want to be in a position. Yes, we all have our situations and we all fall short at times, but we don't want to find ourselves always being the borrower. We want to be in a position when somebody needs that we can say, here you go. We want to be in a position to travel where God is sending us, not feeling like we can't go because we're financially in shackles. We're financially incarcerated. And honestly, it caught when you're financially incarcerated, it begins to incarcerate your mind. It begins
Absolutely.
to, it's a part of the whole Freedom Act. You're held captive by what you just can't do, and you begin to believe it, and then you start having doubt and depression. It all kind of works together. So we're about to get out of here. It's 8:45, and I have one more question for y'all. If there is a song, everybody that comes on here has to answer this question. If there is a song that you would say represents your life and all that you've gone through, what would that song be? Anybody can
I
go
guess
first.
for me, I would say praise them in advance. Um, everything that you go through, ups, the downs, the everything. And for me, it's just learning the praise God in advance for everything because when you do that, more things are going to come your way. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
good.
just do it ahead of time. Don't wait till I just despise. I don't want to use the word despise, but I guess for me, I'm not into going with the motions of how I feel, knowing
Right.
that every time God has always made a way, no matter what situation I'm going through. So
Come
instead
on.
of like, man, where's God at now, or what am I going through now, and struggling, just praise Him in advance because if He brought me through everything else, we always feel like wherever we are is a bigger mountain or molehill, whatever you want to call it, than the
Right.
last.
Right.
We done it before. You want to do it again? So
Come on. That's good. So praise him in advance.
that's
Sis,
right.
what's your song?
Mine's is God blocked it.
Come on.
God blocked it because we encounter so much mentally,
Right.
financially, things of these natures. And when we educate ourselves and serve Him and just touch the hem of His garment, He blocks it every time, regardless how bad it looks. So we have to stay encouraged and know that God is going to block it. And the bigger the levels, the bigger the devils.
Come on.
We have to stay focused, and I have to tell myself that every day as we grow.
Stay
So
focused.
just know God will block it. He will oversee it and overturn it every single time, no matter
I
how
love it.
bad it
I love it. So
Right.
listen, Tyree, I need you quickly. Tell the people where they can find you. How can they contact you?
Absolutely. They can find me at TyreTheCreditGuy.com. That's one E. So TYRE, thecreditguy.com. That's where you can find all free resources on everything from business credit, personal credit, how to build up your credit score, how to get into real estate. This is all free resources. Everything on that site is free training, free everything.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Everything.
That's beautiful. And Miss Stevenson, where can the people find you?
They can go to www.dalscredit.solutions. It will see that I do not only credit, personal, business, but I also do government procurement. I'm heavy in front of the local, state, and federal government. I also do federal contracting, recruiting, and things of that nature. So financial literacy overall, that's where they can find me. They also can call the business phone at 717-421-1445 or shoot me an email at ls@dalscreditsolutions.com.
Tyre, you had a telephone number as
Yeah,
well, correct?
I was gonna say also they can either call or text 650-676-4023 and you'll receive information, the same free information that's on my website. If you dial that number, you'll automatically receive information on whatever you're looking for, or if you text that number, you'll automatically receive information on whatever you're looking for. So definitely.
So listen, guys, I want y'all to know that I thank y'all. I'm so honored that y'all took time out of your busy schedules to come hang out with your girl. And I also want you guys to know that I'm going to be calling you back because I do believe that in this season of our lives, of my life, your life, and of those that are watching, it's time for us to get free. We don't need to be bound, no longer bound. I don't want anything to hold me captive of my ministry. I want to be able to be free. I want to have financial freedom, like I said, physical freedom, emotional freedom. It's time for us to be what God has called us to be. So when I see people telling me that they've gone from a 420 to a 7 something and above in a year, and all they had to do was be diligent, work hard, not give up, and understand that God, listen, he blocked it. And what did you say, bro? What was your song?
Praise him in
advance. We're going to
Absolutely.
keep praising him in advance because we know that he going to block it and we going to get our blessings. All right.
Absolutely.
So listen, I love you guys in the audience. Please contact Lynette Stevenson and Tyre Mathias. They will be coming back on the show. Check out Tuesdays with Lynette. Check out Fridays with Tyre. And for more information, if you really need it, reach out to me and I'll be sure to connect you with these two. Is there any closing remarks that y'all have before we get out of here?
I'll go first. Continuously to review your credit reports and educate yourself on your finances. Be
Right.
diligent and make it, repetitive. Credit is not something that we can just erase. It has to be educated. It has to be
Right.
implemented and executed. So we can't just say we can clean up your credit. Like you said, it's a mindset. It's a
Right.
shift. It's a growth. So you have to have that type of, you know, expectation that you want better. So that
Right.
would be my closing words.
Bro?
I ain't even gonna say nothing else. She can set it up.
Well, listen, that's called a tag team.
I
So
share
listen, I
sentiments.
just saw my mom on here. I love you, Mom. Thanks for watching. Continue to watch Songs in the Key of Life. I'm going to continue to bring you people from all over. We want to better ourselves. This is all about, like I said, motivation, inspiration, empowerment. This is what the She Is Still Dope Network is all about. So please join the She Is Still Dope movement. Watch me, check me out, follow me at Songs in the Key of Life. I almost forgot. On IG. Holla at your girl. Check y'all out next week. See you later.
See you later.
Thanks, y'all.
See you guys
I
later.
thank y'all so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Welcome.